This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are back for another week, ladies and gentlemen, after taking last Monday off.
Yeah, we decided to get back at the old grindstone today.
Grindstone. That's exactly right. Okay, so I got to make an announcement about Andy's life, but first I have to read something because this is the way America's headed now, and it's a perfect example of how nobody cares and nobody pays attention.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the AP. Isn't it one of the, maybe if not the biggest world news organization, one of them?
Yeah, right. I would say that's probably accurate.
Their number one headline this morning. Okay, now pay attention.
Okay, I'm focused.
ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, for people who might not know that.
Okay.
ACLU plans to spend $1.3 million in Educate Montana voters.
Hold on. They're spending how much? They're spending how much money?
$1.3 million in Educate Montana voters about state Supreme Court candidates.
And they're going to in-educate.
They're going to in-educate, yes.
Maybe they should take a little bit of that money and in-educate themselves on how to get this headline.
That's what I was thinking.
See, the way you said that makes it sound like Educate Montana is like an organization, so they're spending money in education.
Yes.
But you're saying it's the opposite. They're spending money to get them dumber?
Apparently, yes. Apparently, that's what's going
just
on.
Montana.
It's not. Yeah, it's
I didn't know they could.
Yeah, like Educate Montana would be capitalized, but it's not.
Okay.
So it's just in Educate Montana voters, not to educate them, but in educate them. Wouldn't that mean taking education away from them to in educate?
You're withholding all of the books.
Right, exactly. So that's where our world is headed now. Nobody pays attention. Nobody cares. As long as they get a paycheck, whatever works. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So that is that. But a phenomenal weekend, ladies and gentlemen. On the phone with Andy about, I guess it was about 9:30 on Friday night. He calls us back 5 minutes later and goes, "Can you guys get over here? Our water broke, so we're having a baby tonight." So
congratulations.
Congrats.
Went over there, ladies and gentlemen, spent the night. And by the way, when I come back, I want to come back as Ethan. He slept 13 hours Friday night. 13 hours. Holy Hannah.
Tucker, he knows there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights now.
He saw that coming. But yeah, so we went over there, got there about, I guess, 10 minutes to 10 on Friday night. Went to the hospital 12:36 Saturday morning. Just a couple hours later, Melissa and Andy had a baby boy. His name is Colin Andrew Barnard. And the greatest thing about it all, I mean, obviously happy for Melissa and Andy and for Ethan, who's all excited about it. He now thinks that he should be the doctor. I'll take care of it.
Right. Pass the scissors. I'll cut them.
The safety ones, though.
Yeah,
He's very excited. Oh, before I move on from Ethan, though. So we go over there Friday night. Of course, we take Jude, our dog, with us. Ethan loves Jude. And he hugs him all the time. And the look on Jude's face when he's hugging him is like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Not you again.
Not you again. I have to put up with that. But Jude's very good about it. He just lays there with us, look in his eye like, oh, God. He's getting hugged by Ethan. But I guess Ethan's really stepped up, wants to help with everything. He's all fired up about it. I don't think he realizes yet that baby's not going anywhere. It's with you from now on. And that baby gets half your parents' time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which kids do not like.
I was gonna say we'll see how long that keeps up. Because
exactly.
Very eager right now, but talk to me in like 72 hours after he realizes, you know what? Mom and Dad might have somebody to spend some time with.
So it's just, honest to God, just fantastic. Like I said, we have 4 grandchildren now, Fawn and Sage with Alex and Dan. And now we have Ethan and Colin with Melissa and Andy. It's just, you guys, in your future, you aren't going to believe, like, you might go, hey, it'd be kind of cool, but you aren't going to believe what it's like to have a family. It's the greatest thing on earth. It really is. Everybody getting along. And of course, Fawn and Sage, oh, the baby's so cute. Well, I'm glad you don't think it's hideous. That's good. That's good news. I'm glad to hear that.
I'd be more concerned if that they're just like, oh, gross. Like, so ugly. No.
Yuck.
And I don't know if babies have taken another step up, but I go to pick up Colin and he lifts his head. Like it's like a newborn can lift their head now. They didn't used to be able to do that.
But he was just doing crunches in the womb.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's like, man.
There you go.
Melissa drinking protein shakes during the pregnancy. To
Muscle
really bulk
milk.
him up. Yeah.
I got a lot of muscle milk going on. But yeah, it's such a great situation to be. And like I said, whether there's a God or there isn't a God, or it's the universe or it's a greater good or whatever the hell you want to believe it is good for you, all I know is our lives have made much, much happier by the addition of another grandchild in the family. Just having a family is a great thing. No question about it. I mean, I had a form of family as a kid without my dad around much of the time, but just to have a family that all gets, they don't all get along 100% either. It's like, oh, that again. It's like, settle down, pipe down, be quiet. But yeah, another great gift in life. It's just another one of those deals. You have these kids and you have the grandkids, and it's just, if you haven't done it yet, you two are not of that age yet to make to pull that trigger, as they say. But you aren't going to believe it. First time you hold that baby in your arms. And anybody that argues boy or girl, you're nuts. It doesn't make any difference at all. I hate that. Oh yeah, I hope it's a boy. I don't hope it's anything. It'll be fine.
You just hope that it's a healthy baby boy.
That's exactly. Okay, time to move on. I get it. Listen, it's time that the ACLU plans to spend $1.3 million in Educate Montana Voters. That's, and again, it's not Educate Montana Voters. It's not a thing. It's they meant to educate. But once again, as Tevin pointed out, maybe you should spend some of that $1.3 million on your own education.
Yes.
That'd be good. We'll take a break. Be right back. Do we have to talk about sports?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's good. Phil's going to in-educate us.
He's going to in-educate us. That's exactly right. Right after this, South Dakota, one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Beautiful town if you've never been there. It is. It's gorgeous. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was recently ranked the #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes magazine, the #2 best state business tax climate by the Tax Foundation, and the #5 top state for e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you're at in your career, they have an opportunity waiting for you. Our city's tax-friendly climate, strong workforce, don't go unrecognized. Forbes named Sioux Falls one of the top small cities for business and careers each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? We rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work, of course. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market, the economy. He knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Okay, we got Phil Mackey with us. You're allowed to talk football, but don't even bring up baseball. I'm telling you.
I have zero desire to talk about a Twins team. This will be the only thing I say about the Twins. The manager, Rocco Baldelli.
I think you're underwater.
I think it's coming through your computer, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Give me 5 seconds to reset.
Okay, that's going to do it for the report today, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how bad the Twins are.
He just wants to bail and
Rocco
get out.
Baldelli is sabotaging Phil's microphone so he can't discuss how bad they were. God, did you watch any of them or the Vikings over the weekend though, Tom?
I did indeed. Of course, a couple of those games I left and it's like, oh, they got a nice lead. They could handle this. Got a good bullpen. That team sucks so bad right now. Defensively, pitching, hitting. I mean, they got some good players on that squad, but my God, that team sucks now. So you got to believe it's management and ownership, don't you think?
I feel like that the consensus has to be that it's the ownership because
yes,
they've been hurt, but everybody's been hurt. But at the same time, when you realize people are hurt and can we test it? What do we think?
There we go. Broadcast professional here.
Beautiful.
Broadcast.
Okay, now that that's fixed, we'll get back to the report. No, just
I sounded sort of like the Twins did playing against the Royals this weekend, scoring 2 runs in 3 days. That's the end of our Twins conversation because the Vikings, led by Sam Darnold, a swarming fast defense. Now, they were playing probably the second worst team in the NFL yesterday.
Yes.
You know what's bad? So the Giants were celebrating 100 years of New York Giants football yesterday. They bring back Lawrence Taylor for the coin toss. They brought back Phil Simms and Eli Manning for the pregame ceremony. So they're ready to go. The fan base is here. It's week 1, 100 years of Giants football. 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. So we're less than 2 minutes into the game. And they're booing Daniel Jones and the offense off the field.
That was amazing. They booed the hell out of that team.
Boo, get his ass out of here.
I think the worst part is that how dumb they looked playing.
Those
they wore
jerseys were
these
hideous.
terrible mashup between the Michigan Wolverines and the Montreal Canadiens. It was just terrible.
It was. I agree with you. Terrible. No question.
They looked like they weren't wearing pants because they had it was tan from the knee up to the
they were flesh
to the
colored.
waist.
Their punter, the back of his jersey was untucked for one of his punts, and it was like, does he have pants on? Oh yes, he does. It just looks like he's out here butt naked.
It's all true. What are you going to do, ladies? So again, it's always nice to win, but thanks for reminding us they're probably the second worst team in the league, and maybe the first worst.
Yeah, it's kind of them or the Carolina Panthers, another team yesterday came out. All right, week 1, we got our new young hotshot offensive head coach. We got Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick, and they're down 30-0 late in the second quarter. So the first week is always interesting because teams can look clunky. So on the Viking side, I know it is the Giants. It is week 1, and you've got the 49ers coming up in week 2 and a really good Texans team. So you're going to have some nice tests. But I've kind of said, and maybe I'm just being a homer, I've said for the last 5 or 6 months, Kevin O'Connell can coach. You've got some great weapons on offense. I like the defensive parts. They've got their edge rushers are fast and mobile and young. They bring Stephon Gilmore, a potential future Hall of Fame cornerback, in via free agency 2 weeks ago. So my point here is yes, it was the Giants, but there might be a little more here with the Vikings than people thought going into the season. So let's be on watch here. Plus, Jordan Love, the Packers quarterback, he sprained his MCL, so he's going to be out for like anywhere between maybe 4 and 6 weeks. And they started 0-1. So you're going to get the Packers backup quarterback Malik Willis in like 3 weeks when you play them at Lambeau. So that game might flip from a loss to a win for the Vikings. So, hey, I'm just sipping on some Vikings Kool-Aid here, Tom. Just sipping on a little Vikings Kool-Aid today.
You know me, if I were a defensive player and I sacked their quarterback, every time I sacked him, I'd stand him and go, "What you talk about, Willis?" and walk away. Just to rub it in, man. I would love
get some opportunities. Yeah.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 15-yard penalty,
Yeah,
taunting, defense.
Taunting.
That's
Call
the
him, "What you
7th
talk
time
about?"
Tom Barnard has done the "what you talking about, Willis" taunt.
After multiple times explaining to him, you can say it to anybody else, just not the person you actually sacked.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So it's hard to judge because the Vikings looked terrific yesterday. There's no question about that. Several players stood out. Also, no question about that. What the hell? Who's number 0 again? What's his name?
Ivan Pace, right? On defense. Yeah.
Why? He's slugging guys in the face. And I was like, what the hell's he doing?
He's feisty, man. So he has a really interesting story. A couple years ago at Cincinnati, and randomly I share there's some really good friends of his family that I also share a mutual connection with, and have just heard great things about him going back to like high school. So he was at the University of Cincinnati as one of the best linebackers in all of college football. Like he was a tackles leader, pressures, like you can blitz him off the edge, everything. But because he's not his measurables are not necessarily NFL size, he's kind of a small guy for a linebacker. And so he went undrafted 2 years ago in 2023. The Vikings picked him up as an undrafted free agent right after the draft was over. And he impressed so much early in the summer. They made him a starting linebacker going into the season in 2023. And he's one of the best players on defense for them, undrafted out of Cincinnati back in 2023.
That's pretty amazing. The guy's feisty. I will tell you, he's very, very
just
feisty.
Slapping guys upside the head.
Also, by the way, I made a mistake yesterday. So I get up in the morning and it's, I don't like to turn on all the lights and wake up Catherine and all the rest of it. So I'm sneaking around, getting dressed, and I find my Viking hat. This is before the game started, right? So I got my purple shirt on and my Viking hat, and I watch the game and, trying to keep it very cool. So I go out, I'm walking out the door of the house, and Dr. Gordy Amith, an old friend of mine, I've known Gordy for years and years and years. He comes and he goes, "Oh, I see now the Vikings won one. You actually got your Viking hat on, huh?" And I said, "Hey, let's not kid ourselves. I had this on before the game even started. And by the way, didn't you notice my purple shirt?" He goes, "No, because that shirt is blue." And he was right. I thought I'd put on a purple shirt. It was blue.
You're slipping, Tom. Was it your Giants quarter zip so you could hedge depending on who won the game?
Right. Well, you said you were sneaking around trying to do it with the lights off. It's probably hard to tell between a navy blue and a purple.
Oh, it was.
I understand.
I feel like the gigantic number 56 with L. Taylor on the back gave it away.
Taylor. I did love Lawrence Taylor. There's no question about that.
Yeah. And we had two very different approaches to the start of our morning. As you're tiptoeing around your house, I'm kicking open my bedroom door like it's football season, got the sliders and wings going. I'm like,
everybody up.
Yep, everybody is awake, and let's
buffalo wings for breakfast.
Yep, putting the Vikings jersey on the dog. Like, let's go.
Oh God. Well, bring your dog over so you can have Ethan hug him too. Or honest to God, that's so great to watch that kid hug a dog, because Jude just goes, "Oh, Jesus, here, okay, you can hug me. It's fine."
Got him in like a death grip.
He does have him in the death grip. But so, yeah, I know I hate to re-reference the Twins or what, but are they completely shot? Now, they look terrible.
Yeah, Rocco Baldelli, as I was trying to say before I figured out which button to push over here as a broadcast professional. So Rocco they got swept in Kansas City over the weekend, and Rocco Baldelli, usually pretty thoughtful, like he'll show some emotion and stuff, but he did something I think pretty unprecedented for him yesterday. Instead of giving a post-game press conference, he told the assembled media This was an unprofessional weekend of baseball. This will be the only comment I make. I will not take any questions. Talk to you later. And then he went in, I guess, closed door meeting and just lit up the clubhouse.
Good.
And some of the beat writers outside the door could hear like loud noises and yelling. I don't know if they could make out what was being said. But here's the crazy thing. So the playoffs start in 3 weeks, and the Twins are in a complete tailspin. So they're 6-14 in their last 20 games.
Jesus.
But they still have, according to Baseball Reference, a 75% chance to make the playoffs. Because the teams behind them are, largely just as bad or not competitive. So, yeah, and they're still only 5 games back in the division because Cleveland has been sputtering since the All-Star break.
And every
chance it's a weird feeling.
They had every chance to catch Cleveland and just drop the ball.
Yeah.
Ugh. Get it? Drop the ball literally.
That's pun very much intended. Very much intended.
I love the Twins, but my God, they go through this. I don't know how many. But again, on the other side, you got the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl in 63 years of being a team.
60 is this season was 1961, so this would be season or 60. Yeah, we're into the 60s.
Yeah, we are. Definitely. No question about it. Never won a Super Bowl. Been to 4 of them. Never even came close to winning one, though.
This year. This could be the
year.
year.
This could be after what we saw.
Okay.
Sam Darnold could be the chosen one.
This is it. You know what, though? This franchise has a knack for just, like, they pick out random quarterbacks from time to time.
Yeah.
Case Keenum, Randall Cunningham was retired. They pull him out of retirement.
Yep.
Brett Favre was 39 years old and had torn biceps repaired. Mm-hmm. So they tend to go on runs with random quarterbacks from time to time. So, well, maybe.
Now it's Slinging Sam's turn.
Yep. Slinging Sammy. I like it.
There we go.
That works.
Him and JJ all season long.
Yeah, I was introduced to Viking football as an 8-year-old boy going into Size Menswear on West Broadway in North Minneapolis. And there, signing autographs is Fran Tarkenton. Never even heard of the guy, of course, because I'm 8 years old. I'm like, who the hell is Fran Tarkenton? I had no idea. Could not have been nicer to me. I will never forget. Matter of fact, I've told him this over the years, interviewing him on the morning show and all the rest of it. He was so nice to me as an 8-year-old kid. I'll never forget it. Very pleasant.
Well, in his first stint, I was not alive for the Fran Tarkenton era, but because he had the first stint of however many years, and they were kind of an expansion team. He wasn't very good yet.
Right.
He gets traded to the Giants and kind of builds his profile, puts up some numbers. And then he was in his early 30s when they traded back for him. And then they went on a run of 3 more Super Bowls. And that's when, like, the MVP caliber Fran Tarkenton came out, the Hall of Fame caliber guy.
No question. Are we
just like Sam Darnold starting this year, Tom?
Yeah, starting this year. Hey, look, I'll have total faith in him until he fails me miserably. That's all I have to say. And I hope he won't do that, of course. That would be nice to watch the Vikings win a few. What do you think? A lot of people are saying they're going to be, a 7-10 season for us this year?
Yeah, most of the sports books, like the Vegas sports books, set the over-under at 6.5 wins.
6.5, yeah.
And it kind of felt, I don't know, that felt disrespectful. They do have a tough schedule, but then the schedule on paper always changes early. I mean, look at, for instance, we just mentioned the Packers. Okay, well, the Packers lose their starting quarterback. Well, that game's easier now in 3 weeks. I would even argue this home game against the 49ers next weekend. So the Niners play Monday Night Football tonight against the Jets. So they're going to get 6 days to prepare instead of the 7 that the Vikings get. And they travel to 2 time zones over to play the Vikings. It's a noon game Central Time. So I feel like the Vikings could actually start pretty hot. So I would, if that 6.5 is somehow still available after week 1, I would probably hit that over. Yeah, if I was a wagerer.
It was just fun to watch the game. They've got some talent on that team. I don't know if they're good enough to win a lot of games, but they got talent.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other fun storylines. Like Tom Brady did his first game as I think it was a $375 million 10-year broadcast contract.
Yeah,
that he signed with Fox.
Yes,
he does. Yeah, he does look like a guy that could use an extra mansion or two, a couple extra.
The
Ferrari.
ad for like the commercial to promote the game was so weird because it wasn't about any of the actual current players. It was like Tom Brady talking to his former Patriot self, and then his Buccaneers self, and then his Michigan Wolverine self, and then some like kid version. It's just like, I have to do this to continue to be the best there ever was. No, Tom, you already are.
Yep.
Can we just who's playing?
Don't know who's
there
playing.
you go.
I couldn't remember until like 10 minutes before. Like, who's the game? Who are you commenting for again?
I'm not gonna lie. For $375 million, I needed a little bit more yesterday from Tom Brady in the broadcast booth. Thought he
There
was
you
kind
go.
of a dud. Thought he was kind of a dud in the first game.
I'd like to point something out to you guys. No pressure, of course, because Browerville, Minnesota, which is about 120 miles north of here, kind of northwest of here. There were 2 women born in Browerville, Minnesota, a town of 200 people. And those 2 women went on to have children of their own, who then had children of their own. 2 of those grandchildren were named Tommy B.
Hall of Fame grandchildren.
Hall of Fame
That's right.
people.
Both of them in the Hall of Fame. That's true. The National Hall of Fame, one in radio, one in football. But there were 2 Tommy B grandkids there. And
High-profile broadcasters.
Yeah, high-profile broadcasters. But one of them is worth about $500 million, and the other one is worth about a half an hour. So there you go.
$500 million might be underselling the other Tommy B at this point too.
That's true. Oh God,
Man.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, I didn't get.
Oh, did you spill Tevin's purple Kool-Aid all over the
No, I spilled
desk?
my Diet Coke or Pepsi. It's Pepsi. It's
Did you spill your twins' cyanide concoction there, Tom?
I should have a cyanide.
Your twins' arsenic coffee mix.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Look at I got co-workers here, man. They're not a bunch of stiffs like most places.
Yeah, I know. I really jumped up to help here.
Imagine anybody at the queue doing this for me. There's no chance. There's no question about it. Oh, you were right, by the way. You told me a couple of weeks ago they'd be in 17th place, and they are now. So good job over there. Nice choices you make.
Oh,
thank you, sir.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Who can understand anyone? But okay, so sports. I guess
Great
we're in pretty
drive-by
good
right
shape. What's that?
It's a great drive-by right there by Tom.
I like my
second.
drive-bys. Hey, they drove me by. Believe me, there's no question about that.
drove
I'm
me
still
by.
fighting the fact they told everybody I retired. The assholes that they are. Why can't you just admit you screwed up, got rid of them, and now you're in 17th place? You dumb bastards. Come and step up and
How many places are there even? I mean, I shouldn't talk because I think by the end of the 1500 ESPN run, we were probably lower than that on the AM radio side.
Yeah, but this is FM, and it was the highest rated morning show in America just a few years ago. So, gee, I wonder what changed. But in any case, what was I talking about here? There's something I wanted to bring up about that, but I can't remember what it is. Never mind. Whatever.
17th place. Were you going to make a joke about the Twins and KQ? I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way. I have never worked at a radio station where the morning show got beat by 2 other stations that don't even speak English. The Hmong station beat him and the Spanish station beat him in the morning. It's like, what?
In fairness, that Spanish station, spicy takes.
Well,
Spicy takes.
hey, I'm
Muy
not taking
caliente.
Muy caliente. Okay, say it now in what is the name of that language that they speak in Vietnam? Damn it.
Vietnamese?
I guess it would just be Vietnamese, wouldn't it? But there's got to be a better name in Vietnam than Vietnamese, I would think.
I think it's just Vietnamese.
You think so? Look at I can count on Tevin to look at it.
Yep, yeah. Vietnamamese is the official language, but
Okay,
it almost
stop
felt
looking stuff up.
it almost felt too obvious that it was bound to be wrong.
But I thought in the language itself, do they say Vietnamese?
I'm sure they say it differently. Just
Yes.
Well, that's all I'm saying. But you guys all had to attack me, brutal. Like it was brutal.
It was an
and
attack,
merciless.
yes.
Yeah,
Was
blood
an
everywhere.
attack. Blood
So
everywhere.
gory.
Coffee and blood
question
everywhere.
All right. Anything on the way out that I should know?
No, I think you should just know that it's time to turn your attention to a magical Vikings run here, Tom. A magical Vikings run. They're going to get one at some point. Maybe it's this year.
Oh, you mean at some point being over the next few decades?
Yes.
It could strike at any point, that Super Bowl championship, that parade.
We'll close on this one. Do you like the head coach?
love Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Everybody likes that guy.
Yeah,
I think he's a really good coach. He's a great guy.
He can scheme. He's a great combination of a player's coach who connects really well with just the human beings in the locker room, but also gets on people's asses when they need it and will light you up. He walks that line very well, and he gives great inspirational locker room speeches too.
Yes. And he's not afraid to make fun of himself. Have you seen the interview about him choking his chicken?
What?
No.
So wait, Phil, did you miss
the Barstool? The Barstool.
Yeah, there's a guy. He sits down with an interview with Kevin O'Connell, and he goes, "Yeah, Kevin, I guess you choke your chicken till you puke." And Kevin O'Connell's like kind of laughs. He's like, "Yeah, that's true." And so you can look it up, but there's a story where he's eating a chicken sandwich in the backseat of a car and he chokes on it.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the other coaches he was with at the time didn't like really help him out at all. And Kevin O'Connell ended up throwing up because he choked on his chicken sandwich. But the interviewer phrases it as he's choking his chicken until he throws up, and KSTP just rolls with it.
Is that better than cuffing your carrot?
I don't know, but that's also a great phrase to use.
Well, I was just thinking about that. Choking a chicken while cuffing your carrot. Chicken and carrots. That's a good combo, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great combo, maybe.
And by the way, women, you can stop texting me. Yes, I know Kevin O'Connell's really handsome. Shut up. Leave me alone. He's a good-looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
I think most of our gals would leave us instantly if Kevin O'Connell even winked at them.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Let's get off that subject quickly, shall we? All right, Pally, a brilliant report. I feel much better about not being a Twins fan right now because they suck too much.
Yeah, well, looking forward to cuffing some carrots with you guys on Friday here.
Do you have to do this when you do it?
You know I do, Tom. Yes.
Thank you. Boy, look at
no
the time.
baby carrots here.
God, really adult show we got cooking here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. This is Tom for Livia Weight Control Centers. Your success story starts today. Join Livia's doctor-recommended award-winning nutrition program. You get your first 8 weeks free. You could lose up to 20 pounds or more in your first 8 weeks. Plus, Livia offers weight loss medications to accelerate results. That is a fact. We're going to get to that in a second. Receive personalized one-on-one guidance plus expert nutrition and medical support. Livia is the destination for all weight loss solutions. Trust me when I say this, Livia works. And I'll tell you how much it works. This morning, I weighed 223 pounds, which means I only have 9 pounds left to go to reach my goal weight of 214, which is 101 pounds less than I weighed just a couple of years ago. So it does work. There's no question. Matter of fact, there are times when I, go and I have lunch and all the rest of it. And then people go out, like, what was it? Friday night, everybody went out to dinner, but I couldn't eat dinner because, I ate not a huge lunch, but I ate it was a pretty good sized lunch, not big, not whatever, but I just didn't want to eat anymore. You literally don't want to eat sometimes. That's not to say that you don't eat, but you know how that whole deal goes. Here's your deal. Here's your part of it. Visit Livia.com. That's Livea.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Join Livia's nutrition plan today and get your first 8 weeks free. Plus, Livia Medical offers GLP-1 medications. That's what I'm talking about. This medication is amazing. Just go to 855-GO-LIVIA. Choose the trusted leader serving our community for 15 years because Livia works.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, they now have hundreds of products, some you may not even know about, as a matter of fact. For example, the brand new 4-pack dish towels, just $25. 6-pack towel sets, just $25. Bed sheets for as low as, $25. Check out their overstock and closeout sale and save up to 80% off select items. Looking for a good night's sleep? Take advantage of the classic collection on a variety of MyPillows for as low as $9.88. I've been sleeping on a MyPillow, my head on a MyPillow now for about 20 years, something like that. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. And please do this because it's very important. Please use promo code Tom. Yeah, I heard about it with Tom on the Tom Barnard Morning Show. Thank you.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, every day my day starts. I wake up, I get up, and I grab a little cup of coffee or whatever, and I sit down and I watch Channel 5's Chris Egert doing the news every morning now. That's what I do.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Tommy.
What the hell? Channel 5's Chris Egert is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. At least while I was watching this morning, not a lot of bad news so far. Did I miss some bad news out there?
Yeah, there was a scare at Northtown Mall yesterday, but nobody got hurt. But you don't want to. Last thing you want to be is at the mall and you hear shots ring out.
Jesus, that happened again
outside of Northtown Mall. Ended up like shooting out one of the front windows, and I don't. That in itself, if it happened somewhere else, it wouldn't be as concerning. But when it's at a mall, and you just think of like what would be going through your head if you're inside the mall. And so anyway, that was one of the things. There's a lot of little kind of spotting things that happened over the last couple of days, but yeah.
I understand, and I don't know this. I haven't done a lot of research, and maybe you guys would know this. I understand mall business is way down because of this. That the malls are not doing well anymore because people don't want to be caught inside with a shooter.
Yeah, well, that and just, I mean, you can order everything on Amazon and get it delivered the next day. So really malls, unless you have a huge, roller coaster and log ride and movie theater and more attraction based aquariums in the basement.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to get a lot of people that are coming out consistently.
I think I read somewhere that like the Apple Store is something that keeps a lot of malls going because that store is a driver for people to come in and they, when it comes to tech, it's people aren't as comfortable ordering things online and they want to actually be able to test it out. And you definitely see malls evolving though in what they're offering and trying to find a niche to, stop. I guess you're not really stopping the online thing. You sort of have to evolve to accompany it and sort of, well, if it doesn't fit, you can bring it here. Just have to be flexible, I guess. But
I'll tell you, honest to God, as a teenage boy walking into that Brookdale Mall out in Brooklyn Center, I thought, my God, this place is like a palace in here. Just fountains and beautiful marble floors, and that place was gorgeous. Of course, once again, the north side of Minneapolis predicts the future. It was the first mall in America to be not only shut down, but be torn down. They went the whole route with that one.
Rest in peace. Yeah, they didn't even give it a chance.
Oh, they gave it a chance, but
right.
Yeah, those kids in the neighborhood, let me just put it that way. Yeah, it's I guess Southdale's not doing well in business. And although that new grocery store out there is just kicking ass.
Southdale's an interesting one because it's not, and Rosedale a little bit too. You notice that now Southdale has a Lifetime on it. It has, so what they're almost evolving into a place where like people can like live and work, and it's not necessarily running in and going to Sam Goody and getting a CD. It's everything else.
Yeah, it is. No, but honest to God, one thing I will say, and I haven't lived in another city now for years, so maybe it's all caught up. I don't know. But our grocery stores in this market, Minneapolis-St. Paul market, are phenomenal. God, we've got great
We do have good grocery stores. We had a guy on with the Twin Cities Business Journal, I think, a couple of months ago on Minnesota Live talking about the grocery wars, and it's super interesting too. Hy-Vee tried to make a big move,
Right.
and come up here and expand, and they've not been able to do what they intended on doing because the quality of other grocery stores is already pretty high, and then there's a big is it Kroger Albertsons right now nationally, which are trying to combine. And there's a big effort to try to stop that, because if I don't remember what the percentage is, but if they combine, even though there are none of those in Minnesota, they would own a huge portion of the grocery market and be able to control prices. And so it's interesting. That grocery business it's an interesting game.
It is, but it's done very, very well, all the way back to Don Byerly, and I mean the Red Owl chain. We've always had really good markets in this state. Which is
I remember the first time, one of the first times I came to visit my dad in the Twin Cities, and we went to the grocery store, and we must have gone to a Kowalski's because it had carpet on the floor, and I was like, "Oh my God, look at this place! There's carpeting on the floor of the grocery store." Like I thought.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy."
I don't know, Tevin. You can ask him, but Kevin just wanted to know: did your dad know you were coming? What? My
mom might have just dropped me off on the door.
Yeah, exactly. Your mom dropped.
We're a
you
little
off.
frosty between them. I'm not really sure how that all worked.
Did that work out in the end? The frostiness, but
no, it didn't. Speaking of frosty, AJ gave me a little retweet. I broke the news a short time ago. One of the first people in town to break the news about the new professional women's hockey league. The Minnesota team, your world champions, are now called the Frost.
They are the Frost.
What were they called last year?
Last year they
didn't have a name.
They were PWHL Minnesota or PWHL Boston. They needed a full year to do like
they started the league, and then they didn't want to give them names and stuff right away. And so we're the Frost. It's kind of the logo is an F and it's purple, and it
almost looks like a lightning bolt a little bit.
It kind of looks like the Gatorade Frost.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Here's the entire, like, there's only 6. I'm not going to list off like 30 teams here, but it's the Boston Fleet, the Victoire de Montreal, so the Montreal Victory, the New York Sirens, the Ottawa Charge, and the Toronto Scepters.
We have the best name.
I don't think that's saying a whole lot, though. I feel like after a full year, my feeling initially is this is a big letdown. I don't like typically like environmental names. Like I don't like the Wild, but I like the Wild logo and the branding personally. I'm not a fan of like the Hurricanes nickname, the Lightning. Give me something. Like give me a bear, give me an animal, give me a person, give me something. And that's just my personal feelings. But like some of these other names, like the Scepters, the Sirens, the Charge, like I feel like after a full year, this is kind of a letdown league wide.
Yeah.
Well, plus.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say very quickly, the only 2 guys in the show here are married, Chris and me. And of course, Chris and I both felt the frost from our wives once in a while. So, I mean, they kind of stole the name, right?
I don't think I'm in a permafrost state.
Yeah, the permafrost Egert family. That's not
just me roving around the frozen tundra. Yes.
I cannot wait for Tevin and AJ to get married someday. And though that frosty look you get from your wife, you will know what it is immediately.
It's great when your daughter starts giving you that look too.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's almost worse with the daughter, because with the wife, you've already lost hope. She's been over me forever. But when you get the look from the daughter too, you're like, oh, I lost her too. I
understand. No, the Frost. The Frost name has been stolen now by the Women's League in Minnesota. So that's good.
Well, go Frost, guys. That's what I have for today.
All right, Pally, we will talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. I should mention again, there will be no family show today because everybody is, Andy obviously can't make it in. We thought we had a backup, but she couldn't make it in today either. So I think the show will kick back in tomorrow. I'm not sure of that. Got to make sure we got somebody to run the board and do all that stuff. So no show today, I know, but I think it'll be back tomorrow. I'm hoping anyway. Right? Does that make sense?
I think so. You got to take some time after having a baby.
Right. Oh, God, yeah, I'm telling you. And then once again, just having a baby around, and the kid looks at you already like, what do you want?
It runs in the family.
It must run in the. You mean Catherine's family?
That's that Brant blood.
The Brant blood. What the hell are you looking at, pal? We shall take a break. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Another nice Italian boy coming up in minutes. It's Tom for Welshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities. Welshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities, memory care facilities, of course, are a place where your loved one will live with pride and dignity. Very, very important at that age. If you care deeply about someone in your life, Welshire is the place I highly recommend. I've known him for, like I said, Corey used to be my caddy all those years ago. I've known him for decades. Good family. Welshire is a memory care focused facility, has a full nursing team, always staffed within the building 24 hours a day, as a matter of fact, 7 days a week. They have never used or relied on any staffing agencies. Welshire of Medina is now accepting elderly waivers after 12 months of private pay. I know them personally. And again, I never say that unless it's true. I do know Corey personally, known him forever. They are a family-owned local company conveniently located right in Medina and Bloomington. They are the best staff memory care facility in the state, too, by the way. Welshire has a robust community with activities 7 days a week. If your loved one is in need of a memory care facility, please get in touch with my friends at Welshire. Set up a tour or learn more at welshiremn.com. That's WELSHIREMN.com.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. Look, there is no shortage of banking options in the Twin Cities. If you're tired of being just a number to your big national bank, be sure to talk to my friends. And again, Bilski's a friend of mine. I sometimes don't like to tell people that, but I still do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk to my friends at North American Banking Company. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as other banks, but with the unparalleled service of a community bank. I also like being able to go to any of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Roseville, 50th in France is the one I spend most of my time at. Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, Maple Grove. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Sansevere Sports brought to you by Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw & Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. That's minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Football, Bob, forget baseball.
It's easy to forget when they lose 3 in a row to KC.
To an okay baseball team. Kansas City's not even that good. They're okay.
Now they're better than your Twins.
Well, they certainly are at this point.
Who are unprofessional, according to their manager.
They are unprofessional. I would agree.
You know what? He needs to manage better, too, because he had a game the other night where he should not have taken his pitcher out.
No, he should not have. That was a bad, bad move.
But as you noted, it's football. And by the way, congratulations on number 4.
Number 4, Colin Andrew Barnard was born on Saturday morning at 12:36 in the morning.
Not very accommodating with the time.
Well, he's trying to get settled in on the bar closing times, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So, so in 20 years, he'll be good to go. But
well,
man, you guys have held a baby. It's just one of the great treats on earth.
5 of them.
5? You got 5?
5 kids. I will not hold anyone else's baby.
What do you mean you won't hold anybody else's
I
baby?
don't want to drop somebody's kid by mistake.
Well, that's true.
What if I spasm?
That's true. You spaz out, and there goes the baby's health right out the window. Way to go, Bob.
It's a lot of pressure holding somebody else's kid.
No, you're right about that. There's a lot of pressure. No question. But what the hell? It'll all work out in the end.
Yes, it will. Now, your Vikings, they did what a good team is supposed to do. They beat a bad team. And that is the only team that might be worse is Carolina. Those Giants are pathetic. They got, other than Malik Neighbors and a couple of guys on defense, they got nothing going for them.
No, you're absolutely right, Bob.
You got it 99 yards, that drive. Sam Darnold looked terrific. And the thing that was impressive about the offense, and you have to, again, separate how bad the Giants were, but as opposed to how good the Vikings looked. But Darnold looked good on his throws. And this is a game, and it's rare, that they did not need Justin Jefferson to put that game away.
Yeah.
He wasn't an afterthought, but he was not the reason that they won that game. They won because of Darnold, Aaron Jones, and the defense. And also, this is a rarity, too. You don't see a Kevin O'Connell team winning by more than 20 points. No. That's a rarity. This is, I think, the biggest win that they've had since he's been the coach. Remember all the one-score games they had? That's a big difference for this team. Now, if they keep it up. However, here's the great thing about the NFL schedule. We will know Sunday at 3 o'clock just how good or just how bad this Vikings team is, because the Niners are not a bad team. And we'll see that tonight, I'm sure, when they play the Jets. That team is good.
Bob, guys in our generation, well, Minnesotans in our generation, they got so sick of the Niners kicking our ass back in the day. It was unbelievable.
Hey, 1987, though, that was one heck of a playoff run they had, and they knocked off the Niners. They chased, going back, I remember when they wound up chasing Steve Young out of the game.
Yeah.
And so they've done that. They've had good games in the past against them. I don't think they're going to beat them, but if they did, then this is a team that will not finish last in the division. As a matter of fact, right now, the way the Packers, after what happened to Jordan Love, he'll miss several weeks, and how bad that Bears offense looked, they might be moving to number 2 right now, tied for first with the Lions and the Bears.
God, unbelievable.
First place.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
First place.
Don't mind the team we had to beat to get there, because it might as well have been a 4th preseason game. With the Giants. So, like you're saying, Bob, come Sunday around noon, we'll find out real quick how good we really are.
But again, you have a week to enjoy it, and I think people are. I'm sure the incitement is tempered, but you got to like what your quarterback did for you. And he is your quarterback the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold looked good. He could throw the ball. 12 for 12 to start out.
What happened with him? Wasn't he drafted overall like third in the league?
But what happened was he was with the two most dysfunctional teams of the 21st century, the Jets, and then he went to Carolina. So you can't judge him based on that.
No, you can't. Those teams are terrible.
And he looked unflappable. He did not look like anything got to him or bothered him. By the way, much better opening game performance than that bum they used to have at quarterback. Did you see how bad it was for Kirk Cousins?
Turkey boy.
Couple of interceptions. I think they had a few other turnovers, some fumbles.
Yeah,
I
had the red zone on, and they would cut to the big throws for Kirk Cousins, and everyone was just in the dirt. And I was like, "Yep, that's what you get, Kirk, for abandoning us in our time."
Everybody thought Drake London would be JJ, Justin Jefferson, and Kyle Pitts was going to be TJ Hawkinson, and this and that, and that's nothing. He's a bum.
It's amazing to me, Bob. It did the whole thing. Look, I got nothing bad to say about that quarterback. He looked fantastic. Sam Darnold looked great.
You say that a week from now, and this team
I
is
know.
moving.
I know you're absolutely right about that. But, I mean, look at Jets. Well, they had a good quarterback when Namath was there. What was that, 50 years ago?
Well, I mean, if you were to say who's the best quarterback for the Jets since Joe Namath, good luck coming up with one.
Well, it's
Vinny
true.
Testaverde.
Chad Pennington. That 1 year Brett Favre was there. Yeah.
Favre wasn't any good, though, when he was there. He would have stayed and not come here.
Yeah, that's true.
So that
That
was a
is
tough.
true.
Yeah, it's been a tough road to hoe for those Jets and their quarterbacks. But
I mean, the thing about that is, too, the Vikings are such a Minnesota team. Yeah, I know the Twins aren't, but if you pick one team, what's the team that says Minnesota the most? It would be the Vikings.
Of course.
No question about that. So just to see I don't care who they beat, they won. I liked it. Catherine actually watched the game with me.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal because she will not waste her time watching bad teams. She goes, I know they'll beat them, so I'll watch it with you. Well, that was good.
You should check with her a few hours before every game.
Yeah, I just thought, I think she probably wanted to, score after the game, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The Crockett. Flat out lies.
I'm sure that's what it was.
I'm sure that's what it was, Bob. No question.
Yep.
All right. What the hell? So everything else good?
Good for them. And how about the Gophers? They're right back in the run for the college football play. I can't even say it without breaking up.
Rhode Island, baby.
Did you see what he did after the game?
No.
They actually cleared the runway for him to sprint into the locker room and dive into the arms of his players so they can, what do they call that? Crowd surfing?
Yep.
Oh, my
It's
God.
Rhode Island. It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
And celebrate your players, not yourself.
Yeah.
After the
But that's all he does is celebrate himself.
He does. He's a terrible coach.
And, and I'm sure if you look, you'll see footage of Nick Saban doing that with Alabama.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Crowd.
no problem.
I mean, got to run onto the field first. Most coaches will just walk it out after their players have the chance to be all excited. It'd be one thing if he'd win any games of importance. How many has he won that are important? How many bowl games has he won that have any meaning?
You're right. None.
Zero.
None.
So,
all right, Bob, now that I'm depressed, you need to go. But I was in a great mood.
Hey, Viking. Woo-hoo. What do you mean? You cannot be depressed. You've got another grandchild.
Oh, you are right about that, man. It's the greatest. He's already looking at me like, what do you want?
Did you give him the speech from The Godfather when you heard that they were, give me I hope your son is a masculine son.
A masculine child.
That's
Yes. He was born Saturday morning at 12:36 in the morning, just after midnight. Perfect.
Well, good. Happy for the family. Looking forward to your daughter-in-law having. I love that little wheel that she puts the kid on. After each month, you get to see where they are.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a height and weight. It's fun.
All right, Sandy, we'll talk to you later on in a week.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll see you.
Thanks a lot. We'll take a break. Be right back. Kat Timpf. I love Kat Timpf. She will join us. She's going to be with us, isn't she?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Magnificent. How binary thinking divides us. This is going to be interesting.
I think you're going to like what she has to say.
I love Kat Timpf. She's always been good. We'll be right back right after this. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I used to like you until how binary thinking divides us. One of my favorites, Kat Timpf, joins us. How you doing, Kat?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm marvelous now that you're here. I gotta. First of all, Kat, I gotta tell you that the way I was raised by my mother and my two sisters. So I think like a woman anyway. That's what I've been told by psychologists my whole life. So it's not a surprise that I really, really like you. There's no question. Because you're a tough woman. I love tough women.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's true, though. I mean, we need more of them. Talks about why it has come to this, that one-sided thinking is a detriment to our modern U.S. society. There's no question. Kat, I just don't understand. I've never met you, but I've been watching you for a long time. You and I have never met. Why do people think that everybody had the same life? We have different lives. We've seen different things. Like I said, I grew up raised by women. You know, my father was gone and my brother was in Vietnam, so there were no older men than me in the family. We had a different upbringing than most people do. Can people not understand that we're not all exactly the same?
Yeah, I think that, the problem is now that, issues are really often complex and nuanced, right? And people always are. And right now, what we've done is we'll just take one viewpoint that someone might have on one issue and think that kind of tells us everything we need to know about the person overall. And that's just simply not the case. And I mean, as different as we are, many of us kind of want a lot of the same things out of life. We just maybe have different ideas of how to get there. And research that's in my book backs this up, actually. And, if you want to win over and connect with someone who is different from you, really the best way is kind of focus on what you have in common first. And we've been conditioned to believe that just because someone's on the opposite political party that we're not going to agree with them on anything. And that's just not true.
No.
And this book is, kind of a guide for people for how to connect.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I grew up a Democrat. My mother's a big time Democrat. And then I tried being a Republican for a while and that went okay too. But now, because of the way the world is so weirdly focused, I've had to move to the middle because I don't understand. Well, the hatred I do understand because everything now is based on money. Would you agree with that, Kat? That everything is about money?
A lot is certainly about money.
I mean, they just can't stop with we did this and you did that. And oh my God. And people trying to, I got to be honest with you. There are many, many big services in this country. And Kat, you probably know this because you're a national figure. They love to falsely report that every national figure in the country at some point has been fired. And it's just not true. Why do they do that? I just don't Google is one of the biggest people that do that, or outfits that do that. They report this person. They said that somebody on Fox got fired like last week. That wasn't you, was it? I know you weren't fired, but that wasn't you. They didn't say it was you, was it?
No.
I can't remember.
No, yeah. I mean, it's important to kind of question everything. Definitely, you read online or question everything kind of in general as well.
Yeah, no question about it. So what are we going to do about this singularly focused on me society we have now? It's all about me, more me now, and I'm the only thing that matters in my life. What are we going to do about this selfish thinking?
Well, I mean, this book is a great place to start, honestly.
Good.
I mean, so this book, I put my personal experiences out there, and I really put a lot out there. There's a lot here that I've kind of never talked about before, and it's all in the hopes that other people can do that too, because I really do think that vulnerability is going to be a huge tool in this. And I think it's really important because, we have a lot to lose. I mean, being vulnerable makes it a lot more likely that someone's going to have compassion for you and listen to you. If you want to be seen as a human, you got to be willing to show that you are one. But, like I said, we do have a lot to lose. I mean, the conditioning of the two sides of this binary thinking, it works great for government and for media in terms of gaining more power and control. I mean, they can use division to get you, make you think it's a great idea to give up your own rights, for example. But also, relationships. I mean, politics sadly makes us fight with people that we know in our real lives on behalf of people that don't even know we exist.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good way to put it, as a matter of fact. Kat, you do call yourself in the article, we're talking to Kat Timpf about how binary thinking divides us, and it certainly does. We apparently we love to be divided right now, but you describe yourself as an American libertarian columnist, television personality, reporter, and comedian. American libertarian, for people who might not know what that is, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful word. What is an American libertarian?
Well, for me, I'm a small L libertarian. I'm not a member of the Libertarian Party.
Right.
I'm an independent.
Right.
But for me, it's just government, free markets, and no judges. I mean, the respecting the rights of the individual, questioning the government. I really just think more freedom, letting people kind of make their own decisions for themselves. And I think that there's too much focus, honestly, on the specific people that we have in positions of power and not the amount of power that those positions have.
Do you have to talk with people a lot? And I only got a couple of minutes left here, unfortunately, but people giving away our money to other people, and the only reason they do it is not to make it a better world. They do it to buy votes. I can't even believe that. There's no way you could prove that, I suppose. That's why they get away with it. But it's so obvious what they're doing. We're going to pay for this and we're going to pay for that, as long as you vote for me, of course.
Right.
I mean, what are we going to do about these lying scum politicians we have now?
Yeah, well, they do it with a lot of things. Also, I think fear is another thing that I write about in my book. That it's extremely motivating, right? That's how part of the reason we got so divided. It's a lot more motivating to vote for people when you're not just vote for me because of this policy. It's vote for me because the other side is going to destroy your life and they're going to ruin your children and everybody's going to die. That's a lot more motivating to people. And I think that that's another reason why this book is so important, is that it really kind of opens up, it kind of exposes a lot of the manipulation that people are engaged in when it comes to this, both politicians and the media. But also the book is an entertaining read. So a lot of this stuff could be kind of dry and boring, but it's not, because I weave in a lot of personal stories, and it's a fun and funny read as well.
Kat, you and my wife have pretty much the same views. You're very smart women, and I hope that people do understand, because there are a lot of women right now that they're making very judgmental calls. I wish it weren't true, but it is true. I really like strong, smart women. That's all I have to say. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, thank you.
Well, it's true, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you got to come on the show more often so I can complain to you about how life is going.
Thank you.
Kat, thanks for your time. How binary thinking divides us. I could not agree more. Your book is right on the money. There's no question about that. And tell everybody I said hello. All right. Thank you.
I will, of course.
Thanks. Kat Timpf, ladies and gentlemen. Do you watch Kat on the Fox News?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but not like appointment television. Let's sit down and watch Kat.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a couple of years, but I know she used to do some stuff kind of more abroad and on her own. I think she had a small spill with Barstool Sports for a little bit, doing a lot of kind of like going out to political rallies and talking to both sides and stuff. And she's very entertaining.
She is very
entertaining. Great sense of humor.
And a nice person, no question about that. I just, like I said, I what are we going to do about the fact, and I know we got to move on here in a minute, but every time I listen to somebody, and I don't care if it's a Republican or it's a Democrat or what, it does not matter. We're going to do this. You're going to line your pockets with money. We're going to do that. And the only thing you're doing is buying their vote. I know what you're doing. This is all about you winning. And it disgusts me that these politicians Ugh, that's all I have to say. Politicians ish.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. They promise a lot on the front end, and then they get into office, and you're like, hey, I thought we were all getting, free peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Where's my sandwich? Nowhere to be found.
Only 2 more months, guys. Only 2 more months.
That's right.
And then the election, we don't have to worry about it for another 3.5 years.
Oh God, just even thinking about that, it's like, it's going to get more and more hideous. You know that.
Oh yeah.
And now everybody's going to prison. You got Hunter Biden going to prison. They want to put Donald Trump in prison. It's like, so you're doing exactly what they do in Russia. If I don't like you, I'm going to make sure I put you in prison so you can't run against me.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, this is the most communist outfit we've ever had, I think. It's like, Jesus, could you just calm down? How about that action?
Yeah, and Joe's probably like, I'm not running anymore. Can we leave my son alone? Like, I thought this was going to help get him out of whatever issues he's having.
Yeah, he pled guilty, didn't he?
Yeah, I haven't kept up to date on all that.
I haven't either. I have no idea. I think he pled guilty, and they're talking about him he might get like 2-3 years in prison.
Damn.
Okay. I mean,
then you got Donald Trump, a life sentence, because if it's more than about 10 years, he's going to be dead anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so it looks like he did plead guilty to his federal tax charges. Yep.
That can't be good news, I wouldn't think.
Nope. Looks like, the 3 felony charges. Yeah, not going to say. It doesn't say how long he should be getting, but I'm assuming you go to jail for a little while.
Yeah.
You're probably
maximum sentence of 17 years. There we go.
17 years. Holy. I thought it was going to be like 2-3 years.
That's why I don't break the law, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, don't steal millions from the government.
Yeah,
they don't like that.
Exactly.
You have to understand something. Our government is all about money. That's all they care about is money because they buy your votes with it.
Yeah. On the list of people you shouldn't steal from, like the politicians are like the number one on that list.
Yeah.
Once you steal money from the government, they're definitely coming after you.
Yeah, because they stole it all themselves.
Right.
So
How are you going to steal the stolen money? Like you got to.
Yeah, that's true. KB2's coming up in a couple of minutes. Looking forward to that, seeing what she's got to say about the world and the conditions it's in right now. And again, this did say FU, but now it says Fun KB.
You know what I'm excited to hear about?
What?
Those swinging Mormons.
Yeah. The swinging Mormons. That's exactly right.
I didn't watch it, but I'm excited to hear how the first episode turned out because it looked like I saw some posts on socials. It looked like she had a lot of fun at the the Mormon party, the premiere party that they had.
Yeah, everybody was wearing red. I think I saw from one of her posts. So yeah, it looked like a good time.
So you got to bring me into the group here. She went to a Mormon celebration.
So she wasn't swinging at there's a show.
Yeah, sorry.
About Mormons.
Because I was thinking, it's like, do I want to have her
to
on?
Anybody that missed her segment on Friday,
holy
makes
Hannah,
me sound so bad right now.
It does.
There's a show about a group of Mormon moms, and I'll let her explain it because she was there and she knows a lot more. But she talked. Their show is a little bit risque, and it just premiered on Hulu over the weekend. But I'm excited to hear about it.
We will hear from Kristen Burt just minutes from now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast. And I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. What's up, sister?
Obviously, swinging Mormons are up.
Swinging Mormons. Just in time for my fourth grandchild to be born. We'll talk swinging Mormons on the first show he'll ever hear.
Congratulations, Grandpa. That's exciting. Colin is adorable, too.
Oh, it's very cute.
Online.
It's about as big as this bottle cap, by the way. The kid
He's
is
itty
tiny.
bitty. He's a little peanut.
He is a little peanut, no question.
We love
Already got an attitude, though, so you can tell he's, related to Catherine. Tough guy when she's not here.
We love a little baby attitude. That's when it's really cute.
Oh, God, I'm telling you, it's, whether it's having a wife or having 2 kids or having 4 grandkids or what, it's just, what a great life. It's just wonderful. I love
I'm
it.
happy for you guys.
All right, now back to the Mormons. What did they do?
We talked about this show. Yeah, we talked about this show last week. It is on Hulu. It is a reality show, and it's called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, give everyone quick background on this. This show actually came out of TikTok. So originally, it was a thing called #MomTalk. And it was a bunch of moms during the pandemic, during kind of the lockdown era, who were like just dancing together, and people became fascinated with it. And they became influencers in their own right because people wanted to see the dancing Mormons, which now in and of itself sounds ridiculous. But the lead woman in this, Taylor Frankie Paul, started to admit, because there were whispers in the Mormon community, it started winding up on Reddit, that the couples were swinging.
Uh-oh.
And they called it soft swinging. So soft swinging, and this is where last week I was like, I don't know how do you describe this, but it was literally everything but intercourse that was happening until one couple led to intercourse, because they were starting to like swap husbands and wives and like make out. And then, people catch feelings. And eventually an affair happens. And so a lot of the couples wound up getting divorced. And then Taylor Frankie Paul divorced her husband and then hooked up with this guy named Dakota and then got arrested for domestic violence. She did, not he.
What?
Yes. And all while this was happening, the domestic violence charge, Hulu had cameras up and running. And that's how episode 1 begins.
Wow.
And you are off to the races.
I found out over the weekend. I had seen this TikTok like a long time ago, but it's her in a hospital with her like baby, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And she's like doing a dance, and then like just comments are popping up, and it's like, "Oh, he's fine. He was low on oxygen, so we had to bring him." But just doing like this like trendy TikTok dance, and it's like, how tone deaf are you at times?
Right. That is Whitney.
Like,
and Whitney's kind of like the villain of the whole series in all of this. And she is the woman. And a lot of people did see this clip. Her baby, you can see him in the incubator and his face is facing the camera. He doesn't look well. Like he looks very sick and he's like, oh, he has RSV. And she's like dancing with hearts and I guess he was doing better, but he didn't look like a healthy baby at that point. He was still obviously in the hospital. And even though she was happy in that moment doing a TikTok dance, I'm glad the baby is okay because honestly, RSV can be very serious for kids.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm laughing about this now because the child is healthy and thriving and everything else. But I mean, to look back on it now, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What were you thinking? I'm not even a parent, and I look at that and go, what were you thinking? But this whole series just kind of dives into Mormonism and the sexism because women are there to serve their men. And these women are like, some of them are rebelling against Mormonism and the church and saying like, hey, I'm the breadwinner in my family. We're making all this money because of TikTok. I don't have to be as subservient to my husband as the church is saying. And you have someone who happens to be related to Ben Affleck called Zach Affleck. And his wife's name is Jennifer Affleck. And they're like second cousins. And he's a horrible person. I'm going to say it.
Who Zach is?
Zach Affleck. Yes. He's
Why would you name your kid Zach Affleck? God.
Please tell me Affleck is like a presenting sponsor of
Yes.
the show.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And the women, okay, his wife is supporting him through medical school, and his parents had given him money for medical school. But by the way, he gambled it all away.
Oh, my God.
Even though gambling is against the church's doctrine.
Yes.
And they go to Vegas, and he gets mad at her and says, I'm divorcing you, because she goes to just go backstage. She didn't even watch the show of Magic Mike. Didn't even listen. She did not go to the show. She went back to the Airbnb, and he's in there losing all of his money, their money, her money, actually, in the casino. And has like a little baby tantrum.
I really didn't want to like feel like I needed to watch this show, but I feel like I have to watch this show.
I have to tell you that this is it has everything. It'll have you so fascinated about the Mormon religion and about how a lot of the old ways don't necessarily work in the modern world. Their fascination with sugar, even though they're doing ketamine, even though they're doing Botox, even though they're doing laughing gas.
Oh, God.
You won't drink, you won't do caffeine, but you are drowning yourselves in like 48 ounces of soda every morning for breakfast.
I already know that I will absolutely hate this show, but I feel like I need to watch it.
You need to hate watch it is what
Yes,
you need to do.
Hate
It
watch
is on Hulu. I want to say it's 8 episodes. It is delightful and horrifying. And also the woman who was 16 and got married and got knocked up by a 21-year-old and was forced to get married. Her parents told her she had to get married because, the church doesn't allow a child out of wedlock. And no one's like, hey, a 21-year-old man shouldn't be marrying a teenager.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
That gets glossed over. And then there's another one who Whitney's husband is having affairs. And she goes, he's confused. And you clearly look at him and go, he's confused about affairs with women, or he's confused about his sexuality.
Oh, really?
Which is also a big thing with Mormonism, because a lot of gay men that are in the church wind up marrying women because the church is telling them to.
Oh, so they're Mormon men. You can't be gay in the Mormon faith?
You cannot. And then oftentimes later on, they start to like realize like, I can't live this life. A really famous person who this happened to is Elizabeth Smart's father. Remember Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped in Utah? Her father came out as gay decades later, and he now is a gay man.
Oh, there you go. Good for you.
Yeah. So anyway, it's called Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It is a delightful train wreck.
Can they throw a good premiere party?
Can they throw a what?
You went to like a premiere party or like an event?
Oh,
right?
I did go to a premiere party. Yes, I went to a premiere party. Hulu threw it at the London in West Hollywood. The cast was there. We got those dirty sodas that they like to have for breakfast, and it has coconut cream in it and like root beer. It's a lot of sugar, and then they put syrups in it on top of it.
Oh, God.
But I got good swag because they're known for their Stanley cups. So they gave me a really big Stanley cup as a swag gift. I got a jean jacket that they embroidered for me. I got gold earrings. I got hoop earrings. It was a fun party. I'll tell you that much.
Hopefully there's a season 2 so you can go get more.
I'm positive that there's a season 2 because there is cheating going on that you sort of see at the end of At the end of the episode, and of course, they call the affair partner. They're like, "Hello," and you're like, "There you go. There's season 2."
So, what's the name of this show?
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives
Mormon
on
Wives.
Hulu. And I expect a full report when you guys hate watch it.
I have a question because I know nothing about the Mormon faith. The women are there to serve the men?
Correct.
Okay,
You're there to be breeders. You're there to, of course, run the household, which is, of course, if you want to do that, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and work inside the home, that is amazing. That's awesome. A lot of women can't afford to do that, but it's interesting because the dynamics have shifted in all of these women's relationships because they've become online influencers and they're making so much money from brand deals. They're talking, they throw around numbers and they're like, I'm getting 30 grand for a brand deal, 20 grand for a brand deal. And, they're out earning their husbands now. And the dynamics have shifted in their relationship, which conflicts with their Mormon faith. And I think that's the underlying message you see in all of this. And I have a friend who just left the Mormon church a couple of years ago. And I was asking her, I said, did you watch this show? And she said, yes. And she said, swinging is very common in Utah because you are encouraged to get married as quickly as possible. They don't believe in sex before marriage. So you're 18, 19 getting married. And then all of a sudden you have 3 kids at 22 and you're catching feelings with all these other people because you didn't have the opportunity to explore and to date and figure things out. And so a lot of swinging does go on in the Mormon church.
Really? So basically, every time they set a standard, people turn against the standard. So why bother setting these standards? It makes no sense to me. Look, I mean, here's something that was brought up to me, and I kind of noticed it myself. There are a lot of very, different political views in America and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But these women who, have a much bigger voice than women used to have, do you realize how many people you're letting into this country that demand the women wait on them hand and foot? Why would you want to bring them into your society? It's what you're fighting against for how many hundreds of years in America, for Christ's sake. I don't understand why they do that.
Yeah, I think for this, like this show really shows how religion hasn't necessarily progressed forward. Mormon church, I would say the Catholic Church as well. Catholic Church has lost a lot of its membership, and it's one of the membership. What's the word I'm looking for? Parishioners. They've lost a lot. Look at the lapsed Catholic in me can't even remember parishioner anymore. But I think that they've also lost a lot of parishioners because they haven't adapted. Women are not equal in the Catholic Church. Anyone in the LGBTQ community is not equal in the Catholic Church. And I think, you've seen the Pope push forward a little bit, but not enough where people feel 100% welcome.
But they never criticize the Muslims, and I'm not criticizing Muslims either, but in their faith, the woman has no role.
Yeah. And I think I have a friend who is Muslim and he's married to a Jewish woman. And I mean, I see a very progressive view of it. I see that he observes Ramadan and he doesn't drink. But I see their marriage is very progressive. We went to their interfaith wedding. It was amazing. So I guess it's, you have the traditionalists in any religion, and then you have the progressives who do want to push forward. But I think it goes down to the actual entities running these faiths. It's the Vatican, and obviously it's the temple in Salt Lake City that are driving some of the antiquated narratives. Maybe that's where we need to look.
One of the things that I love is I grew up raised by my mother, my sister Bobby, and my sister Vicky. Wasn't much question that the women had as big or bigger voice in our house, Catholic or not. I will tell you that. That's just how it worked out.
Yeah. So maybe that's what, Secret Lives of the Mormon Wives is exposing. I think, we're talking about all of the tabloid headline generating stories, but really like the underlying theme of all of this is how is religion helping these women? And a lot of them are still very actively involved in their church and their temple, and they still believe in it, but they're also pushing against it. So I think that is really an interesting theme in that show.
I wrote a message on Facebook this morning about, Colin being born and all the rest of it. And I said, look, whether it's thank God or thank a greater being or thank the universe or whatever it is, whatever you believe in, good for you. I'm happy for you. But whatever that was that delivered this kid and my whole family, thank you for that. But some people would criticize, oh, you brought up God. It's like, it's just a greater good. Calm down.
Yeah.
Have they ever noticed evil and God would be short for good? I mean, come on, pay attention for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have spirituality. They don't necessarily belong to an organized religion. And I think if a loved one is maybe sick, you may pray, whatever praying means to you. You may meditate, you may do something because you want to send the energy out there because you do want your loved one to get better, or you want whatever situation you're looking to improve. I think people always just pray somehow in their own way. Yeah.
Did your husband grow up in a Catholic house?
My husband is Latino and he is fully Catholic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I grew up Catholic, but his family, his mother is very devout. She goes to church every single day at noon. And
at noon, there you go.
At noon, she goes to noon church. And
I don't want to get up too early,
I have the sweetest, most wholesome mother-in-law on the planet.
Nice.
So I think that I lucked out.
That's nice to know. Well, we could close with this. My mother-in-law, who's no longer with us, matter of fact, Catherine's father and mother both passed away in the last few years. Mm-hmm. But I will never forget one of the last conversations I ever had with my mother-in-law was, Tom, I got to be honest with you. At first, we weren't wild about you. I'm like, well, thank you.
I was just at a wedding this weekend where the the bride's father gets up and goes, yeah, wasn't too sure about you at first. But
there you go.
Oh boy, that's always so awkward because even if it was just the beginning of and he's fine now, it's still awkward to admit.
Well, and then like the groomsmen give their speeches, and two of them mentioned oh, we were with him in college as he was, dating all these women.
Oh,
no. Guys, we can leave. We can skip that part. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some. And then he met Jane, and he just. But it's one of those things. You're like, we don't really need to hear about everyone's really slutty phase because it's it's fine that they had it. That good for them because otherwise they'd be soft swinging with the Mormons in Utah. Mm-hmm. But I think at the same time, I'm like, the wedding might not be the right place. Like Aunt Margaret doesn't want to hear about her nephew's sex life.
Well, again, in North Minneapolis, I can think of one wedding that didn't have a fist fight. Oh, God, they used to break out in the fist fights at Howie's Bar, the upstairs of Howie's Bar. They're up there slugging it out. We're on stage because I was in a band called Take 5 at the time. I mean, you had to grab the mic stand just to defend yourself, for Christ's sake. It's like, settle down, kids.
The only wedding I went to that was dramatic is all of the bridal party. I was part of it. We were crying, and we were not crying because it was a beautiful moment. We were sad our friend was marrying this guy.
Oh, God.
Seriously.
Oh.
And, you can pass it off as this is a moving moment, blah, blah, blah. But we just knew she should not be marrying him. She did get divorced a few years later and is married to someone who is lovely, which is the happy ending to the story. But I do remember standing up there just going, I'm here because I love her and want to support her. But this is really the wrong person for her.
So how'd he end up?
He is married to somebody else too. So, but I found him to be emotionally abusive toward my friend.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, to one point after they were married, I was at a restaurant and all three of us were together and he didn't like something my friend said and started yelling at her in the restaurant with me just sitting there. And that's, the point of abuse is they don't care. They don't care that I'm witnessing it. That everyone else in the restaurant is witnessing it. And, made me really sad. And, at that point too, I felt empowered to be like, this is not healthy. And you really, whatever you need to do to get out of it, I will help you.
Okay. Let's see the hands on all three of you. Do you believe that I have ever emotionally abused Catherine or yelled at her?
Hands down.
No, it ain't happening.
Hands down.
But again, I grew up around women, so it's a whole different deal. She was a perfect woman for me because she reminded me a lot of the women in my family. It just worked out beautifully. Yeah, I don't understand men who abuse, even verbally abuse women. What are you doing?
I don't know. His family was weird though too. Like even at the wedding, you're like, this is a weird family. You know what I mean? You just don't get like we've all been to those weddings where you're like, the vibes are good. You're like, this marriage is like, it's on the right. It has solid foundation and they are just taking off. This is going to be a happy life together. You go to those weddings and you just feel complete joy. And I've been to weddings where I'm like, this is the first marriage, but this is the starter marriage. Another friend, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the starter marriage. And sure enough, she went off and had an affair and married the guy she had an affair with. But I was like, I knew at her first wedding, I was like, not gonna work. But the other one where I just felt was really sad. Because you just want the best for your friends, and she's still a dear friend to this day. So
no question about it. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think most of my friends went through at least one divorce. Not all of them, but most of them did.
I think a lot of my friends who got married in their 20s, like closer to early 20s than late 20s, are on their second marriages now. But I do have a friend who got married in her late 20s and they just celebrated 20 something years. But yeah, so I was like, you just never know. You got to find the right person.
I got married when I was 33. I don't think I would have been a good husband before that. I'm not that I am now. Don't get me wrong, but if I had gotten married when I was 22, that would not have been a good thing. I don't think. It would be too early for me. But I guess I knew that, so it worked out.
I wouldn't have been ready to get married in my 20s at all. So I was not mentally in that space, and that's okay. Like not everyone's on the same timing. My niece got married to her middle school boyfriend at 21. They already have a baby. And they are very solid. So, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another.
All right. Any closing comments? There's going to be no family show today because we do not have an engineer because Andy's at home with Colin and Melissa and Ethan. And the woman we had backing up couldn't do it today. So there will be no, I'm hoping there will be tomorrow. I don't know for sure, but I think there will be a family show tomorrow. But this show will definitely be on tomorrow.
Excellent. Maybe we can talk The Perfect Couple. Did anyone watch that over the weekend?
I did not. Anyone?
Little Netflix with Nicole Kidman. That was also a good one.
I like Nicole Kidman.
Liev Schreiber, fantastic. And Dakota Fanning steals the series.
Really?
Yes.
Series are so good now. Series are the best they've ever been. They're really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. Yeah, a lot of good TV coming up this fall. So the next few weeks, we're going to be stacked in talking TV.
All right, young lady, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you all tomorrow. And no soft swinging in the next 24 hours, guys.
There'll be none of that. I'm kind of soft and swinging right now, but you opened the window. I'm sorry. You opened the window for that.
Time to shut her down.
Boy,
I can't believe what my ears heard.
I didn't finish the sentence. What are you talking about?
I know exactly what you were going.
No, I was going to say my arm is soft and swinging. That's all. It used to be very muscular. I guess it still is. Never mind.
We lost Tevin on the soft swinging. He went off camera, so I knew where everyone was there.
Big baby. Big baby. All right, young lady. Talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. I got to ask you guys on the way out here, because, we're not going to have the family show. So do you think that sexual reference like that comes from people all the time because they're really not that funny? So that's the one way they think they can be funny?
I think it was like the first level of humor that everybody kind of experienced as you're going through puberty and things growing up, and now you're making fart jokes, dick jokes, jokes, and it's just kind of
like middle school. It's like butts.
And so that's kind of that's the one thing that you can always kind of go back to, and it usually gets a good laugh.
See, we've learned something new. Colin Andrew Barnard was born Saturday morning at 12:36. Another big, and again, whatever your beliefs, whatever. I am blessed. I don't know by what or whom, but I am blessed with a wonderful family. So thank God. The greater good.
Yes.
God,
the greater
good. Googly woogly something.
Thank googly woogly.
Thank googly woogly. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks
talk to you then.